Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is for you. I hope you are having or have had a beautiful and blessed day. Everything got all messed up. I didn't put 14 up, and I didn't know I didn't. And then I started posting 15 to 16, which got cut in half yesterday because the phone died. So now, it's like 15, 16, 15 and part of 16, and then 14, and then the rest of 16. I apologize. I am not, nor will I ever be, a tech genius. Also, as we have discussed numerous times, I fail a lot, my God, my children, myself. Today, I failed y'all. I'm sorry. But yeah, no, it's all up there. It's just in stupid order, but you can see that the titles tell you what's in there, so it's fine. I'm going to read 17 and 18 today. 18 is lengthy, so I'm going to do my best not to beat anything up, as I always do. My best to cover anything I think you might need to hear. Maybe so just quickly, because what we're going to read about today is going to talk about Moses' staff, I think, and Levi's staff, if I remember right. Anyway, remember that Moses' staff, it's not a piece of wood that he uses, right? It is that. But it was also a serpent when it needed to be, and right? And as long as his hands are raised with the staff, they get the battle of the war, right? When he raises the staff or strikes the ground, he gets the manna, and he gets the water out of the rock, and he raises the staff when it's time to divide the sea. The staff is a symbol of a great deal more than just a staff, right? And that's all. I just, I feel like we all know that, but it's important to remember that it's a symbol of God's authority, right? So whoever's carrying the staff, it's kind of a big deal. Sorry. Just kind of glanced over this, see if there's anything I need to bring. I think we're fine. I think we're fine. Just remember the staff being much more than just a thing of practical use, right? It's more than that. It is that, for sure. But it is a great deal more than that. The Lord said to Moses, "Tell Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, to remove the censers from the embers, and scatter the fire from distance away, for they have become holy, the censers of those who sinned at the cost of their lives. Have them hammered into plates to cover the altar, because in being presented before the Lord they have become holy. In this way they shall serve as a sign to the Israelites." So taking the bronze censers, which had been presented by those who were burned, Eleazar, the priest, had them hammered into a covering for the altar, just as the Lord had directed him through Moses. This was to be a reminder to the Israelites that no unauthorized person. Now remember, they were swallowed up. Now they're making these things. Hey, let's keep in mind who God picked, and let's keep in mind who he didn't. Right? He didn't pick you to be up here next to this stuff, the altar, right? And you can't be up here. Just as the Lord had directed him through Moses, this was the reminder of the Israelites that no unauthorized person, no one who was not a descendant of Aaron, should draw near to offer incense before the Lord, lest he meet the fate of Korah and his faction. The next day the whole Israelite community grumbled against Moses and Aaron, saying, "You have killed the people of the Lord." But while the community was assembling against them, Moses and Aaron turned toward the tent of meeting, and the cloud now covered it, and the glory of the Lord appeared. Then Moses and Aaron came to the front of the tent of meeting, and the Lord said to Moses, "Remove yourselves from this community, that I may consume them at once." But again, it doesn't say but again. I'm telling you, but again, because how many times at this point has Moses thrown himself on the ground and said, "God, please don't kill him"? He don't say it, but how many times in one way or another has Moses said what Christ said on that cross? They don't know what they're doing, God. Don't kill them. Because on a regular basis, right, in the desert, when they come down from Sinai, molten calves, God's going to kill them all. He doesn't, but he was going to. Grumbling about not having food and all this stuff after getting manna and water every day. Going to kill him. Moses begged him not to. Right? We got a couple other examples. Now we're at this example. Yeah? Several times. God's like, I've had enough. I've had enough. Remove yourselves from them so that when I smite them, I accidentally take you too. And even though Moses is never in any danger, because God every time tells Moses, hey, get back away from them so I can kill them. Moses still falls to his knees, falls on his face, prostrate, right? Prostrate yourselves, face down on the ground. Please, God, don't kill him. They're assembling against him at that moment. They just assembled against him the day before. And yet still, Moses begs God, don't kill him. Then Moses said to Aaron, take your censers, put fire from the altar in it, lay incense on it, and bring it quickly to the community to make atonement for them. For wrath has come forth from the Lord, and the plague has begun. Aaron took his censer, just as Moses directed, and ran in among the assembly, where the plague had already begun among the people. Then he offered the incense and made atonement for the people, while standing there between the living and the dead. And so the scourge was checked. There were 14,700 dead from the scourge. 15,000 people. God just killed 15,000 people in a matter of moments. Moments. How long did it take Aaron? Think what would just happen? God said, separate yourselves, I'm gonna kill them. Immediately they fell prostrate, started praying, and Moses said, Go get the fire. Make atonement for them. So Aaron ran and did that, right? Bring it quickly to the community to make atonement for them. And Aaron did it. And still. And the scourge was checked. As soon as he was done doing it, it stopped. And still, over 14,000 died. When you say God never, if you want to be a Christian, you can never raise a hand to any. Righteous anger is perfectly all right. Now, you better be sure it's righteous anger. You better be sure it's not you wanting to be angry instead of God being angry through you. It's different, right? But there is righteous anger, and righteous anger is not only okay, it should take place. Jesus does not go into the temple during Passover where they are selling sheep and where they are selling all these things and changing money from the denarius to the shekel and ripping people off. He doesn't go in there and make a sermon mount, right? He didn't go in there and climb the steps and start preaching. He goes in there, pulls out a whip, starts flipping tables over, and telling them to get out. That was righteous anger. That was Christ being pissed off that they had turned his Father's house a place of prayer. I'm not trying to pick on anybody here, but if you got a big stage up front and everybody jumps up and claps every day for the band and not for God, that's a problem. Christ didn't come in there trying to preach to them and tell them what they were wrong. He flipped their crap over, full of their money, full of their wares, turned their sheep and goats and stuff loose that they were trying to sell money, popped a whip in the air and told everybody to get out. That's not some loving God trying to teach you a lesson. He's telling you to get out and he means it. It's righteous anger. Righteous anger is fine. But boy, you better be sure it's righteous. Don't let it be coming from you somehow and pretending it's righteous, because that's a good way to fall down. My point is, though, make no mistake, right? It is okay, and it does happen in this book where people get genuinely angry about things, including God. These people are coming up against his chosen ones over and over and over again. He has had enough. So this time, kind of like when he sent the Levites out to kill some of them, right? This time, he stops it. But not before some pay. Aaron took his censer just as Moses directed, ran among the people. Then he offered the incense, made atonement. 14,700 were dead from the scourge, in addition to those who died because of Korah. When the scourge had been checked, Aaron returned to Moses at the entrance of the tent of meeting. The Lord now said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and get from them a staff for each ancestral home. 12 staffs in all, from all the leaders of their ancestral houses. Write each man's name on his staff, and write Aaron's name on Levi's staff." The house of Levi, you understand? Priest, Aaron, yeah. "For each head of an ancestral house shall have a staff." Each head shall have a staff. "Then deposit them in the tent of meeting, in front of the covenant where I meet you. The staff of the man whom I choose shall sprout. Thus I will rid myself of the Israelites grumbling against you." So Moses spoke to the Israelites, and all their leaders gave him staffs, 12 in all, one from each leader of their ancestral houses. And Aaron's staff was among them. Then Moses deposited the staffs before the Lord in the tent of the covenant. The next day, when Moses entered the tent of the covenant, Aaron's staff, representing the house of Levi, had sprouted. It had put forth sprouts, produced blossoms, and borne ripe almonds. So Moses brought out all the staffs from the Lord's presence to all the Israelites, and each one identified his own staff and took it. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Put back Aaron's staff in front of the covenant for safekeeping, as a sign to the rebellious, so that their grumbling against me may cease, and they might not die." Moses did this, just as the Lord had commanded. He so did. Then the Israelites exclaimed to Moses, "We will perish. We are lost. We are all lost. Anyone who approaches the tabernacle of the Lord will die. Will there be no end to our perishing?" Our life's so hard, Moses. It's so bad. Yeah, you saved us from slavery. Yeah, God brought us all the way here, fed us, kept us in water and food the whole time. Yes, he has blessed us and kept us. Yes, he has promised our descendants lands of milk and honey. Yes. When we obey and do what we're supposed to, we live good. And yes, when we grumble and gripe and are unyielding to him, we are punished. Wah. It doesn't matter what God does for the people of Israel at this point. All they can do is be upset and angry and frustrated. Doesn't matter. The Lord said to Aaron, "You and your sons, as well as your ancestral house with you, shall be responsible for any sin with respect to the sanctuary. But only you and your sons with you shall be responsible for any sin with respect to your priesthood. You shall also present with your kinsmen of the tribe of Levi, your ancestral tribe, that they may be joined to you and assist you, while you and your sons with you are in front of the tent of the covenant. They shall discharge your obligations and those with respect to the whole tent. However, they shall not come near the utensils of the sanctuary or the altar, or else both they and you will die. They will be joined to you to perform the duties associated with the tent of meeting, all the labor pertaining to the tent of meeting. But no unauthorized person shall come near you. You shall perform the duties of the sanctuary and of the altar, that wrath may not fall again upon the Israelites. I hereby take your kinsmen, the Levites, from among the Israelites. They are a gift to you, dedicated to the Lord for the labor to perform of the tent of meeting. But you and your sons with you must take care to exercise your priesthood in whatever concerns the altar and the area within the veil. I give you your priesthood as a gift. Any unauthorized person who comes near shall be put to death." The Lord said to Aaron, "I hereby give to you charge of the contributions made to me, including the various holy offerings of the Israelites. I assign them to you and to your sons as a prerequisite, a perpetual due. This is what you shall have from the oblations that are most holy. Every offering of theirs, namely, all their grain offerings, purification offerings, and reparation offerings, which they must return to me, shall be most holy for you and for your sons. You shall eat them in a most holy place. Every male may partake of them. As holy, they belong to you. I would just like to point out again how very, very much we talk about anybody who isn't authorized, chosen by God, selected by God, that comes near the Ark of the Covenant dies. Immediately. The Ark of the Covenant, right? If you aren't chosen by God, selected specifically by God, purified in some way by God, then you can't even come near the Ark of the Covenant without dying. You can't even come near it. Touch its utensils. You can't be in the room. Mary carried Jesus, the Lamb, the covenant, in her body. She ain't got nobody, no true Catholic prays to Mary. They do ask Mary to pray for them. The same way every Baptist you've ever met asks their mama to pray for them when something's going on. They just ask the mother of Christ. Now you might say, well, you can't pray for somebody who's dead. Kind of depends on whether you... I'm not getting that yet. We'll get into that later. I don't want to beat nobody up here, and I don't want to cause issues for anyone. The point is, adoration of Mary, treating her as someone who deserves our respect, our adoration, our love, that should be a given for any Christian. I mean that. That should be a given for any Christian. There's a reason that John doesn't use his name in what Christ says to them when they're on the ground and he's about to die. Right? He does not say, John, this is your mother. Woman, John is your son. Nope. Nope. Disciple, this is your mother. Mother. To all my children. You understand? He's saying you are a mother to all who are disciples of mine. She is, if we are Christian, all of us, she is our mother. Ask her to pray for you and see what happens. Don't pray to Mary. Talk to Mary and ask her to pray for you, to intercede for you, to help you. Show her the respect and the adoration she deserves, because she sure as shooting deserves it. No other person in the Bible, not one, shows us what absolute, unwavering faith looks like better than Mary. Her yes to God's query is her first example of absolute, unwavering faith. Hey, I'm going to make you pregnant with the Holy Spirit. You're going to be pregnant before you've been with a man, and before you've really officially been married and moved in with your husband. At a time when that kind of thing will get you stoned to death. Okay? And she said, okay. Absolute faith that what God was telling her was true. Then she asked at the wedding of Cana for Christ to make them people some more wine. That's not her asking that shows absolute faith. We all ask for things. It's that she asked, and immediately, even though he's like, well, I don't know if it's my time yet. She asks and immediately turns to the servant and says, do whatever he tells you, and walks away, because she has absolute faith that he's going to do it. Doesn't hurt anything that she's his mama and she told him to. But she has absolute faith. There's no question in her mind that it's going to be done just as he says it will be, because she asked. I know I get off on this every now and then, but I think it's really important. I think a lot of us miss it. This also you shall have, the contributions that are their gifts, including the elevated offering of the Israelites. I assign them to you and your sons and your daughters with a perpetual due. All in your household are clean may eat them. I also assign to you all the best of the new oil and of the new wine and grain that they give to the Lord as their first produce that has been processed. The first ripened fruits of whatever is in their land, which they bring to the Lord, shall be yours. All of your household who are clean may eat of them. Whatever is under the ban in Israel shall be yours. Every living thing that opens the womb, human being and beast alike, such as are to be offered to the Lord, shall be yours. But you must redeem the firstborn of human beings, as well as redeem the firstborn of unclean animals, for the redemption price of a son, when he is a month old. You shall pay the equivalent of 5 silver shekels according to the sanctuary shekel, that is, 20 gerahs. But the firstborn of the cattle, the firstborn of the sheep, and the firstborn of the goats, you shall not redeem. They are holy. So you redeem. He just means the firstborn, human being or beast alike, is mine, says God. But you don't have to go sacrifice your firstborn son or daughter. Right? You have to redeem them, though. Something has to be sacrificed for them. A redemption sacrifice. Sound familiar? Once and for all. But at this time, before Christ, got to do something. Firstborn's mine. If you're not going to sacrifice your firstborn, which again, God's like, you don't have to do that. But you need to get a sheep or a goat or something to sacrifice that instead as a redemption offering to the Lord. Right? But don't sacrifice your firstborn. See, this is where it changes, right? This is where at this time there are other things going on that are absolutely, you sacrifice your firstborn to your God on an altar, right? God's like, don't do that. Don't do that. Redeem them with an animal. But what did I just say when I just froze for y'all for just a minute? Because for the redemption price of a son, the son was the redemption price, right? Now. Not then, but now. This book is full of typology. If you don't know what that is, just go look up literary terms and look up typology. This book is heavily weighted in typology. Christ is a type in this book that is perfected. He is the perfected type of lamb, of sacrifice, of a covenant, right? He is the perfected type. Adam is the first of those types, right? Not perfected, but the first of those types. Mary is her type, perfected. Eve is the first of those types. I'm not going to beat that up. I just want y'all to be aware of it, and I want to make sure that we're discussing it occasionally. Because if you do that, with any luck, it will stay in your head enough that you'll read things, you'll go, wait. And maybe you go back and you read it again, you go, wait, okay, I see where we're going with this. And that's a good thing. Okay. Their blood you must splash on the altar, and their fat you must burn as an oblation pleasing to the arm of the Lord. Their meat, however, shall be yours, just as the brisket of the elevated offering at the right thigh belongs to you. As a perpetual due, I assign to you and to your sons and daughters with you all the contributions of holy things, which the Israelites set aside for the Lord. This is a covenant of salt, to last forever before the Lord, for you and for your descendants with you. Covenant of salt, it just means especially at this time. You could argue it now because we've got so many in-lab created things. But in the natural world especially, right? Salt is the best preserver, period. Right? You coat enough salt on a big piece of ham and hang it up out in the shop. And next year you can still take that ham down, cut off that outside and eat it. This is just God saying, right? Set aside for the Lord. This is a covenant of salt, to last forever before the Lord, for you and for your descendants with you. A covenant of salt, the most preserving thing they could put in this spot. You understand? A covenant is long lasting. Salt preserves, right? That's all they do. A covenant of salt. Super preserved, right? We're just trying to keep it safe. Keep it there. So we can use it later. Anyway, I tell you all the time, don't let stuff beat you up like this. Super simple. It's just sometimes we think everything in the Bible has to mean something else. No, sometimes we're just talking about salt. Then the Lord said there, and you shall not have any heritage in their land, nor hold any portion among them. I will be your portion and your heritage among the Israelites. To the Levites, however, I hereby assign all tithes in Israel as their heritage, in recompense for the labor they perform. The labor pertaining to the tent of meeting. The Israelites may no longer approach the tent of meeting, thereby incurring the penalty of death. Only the Levites are to perform the labor pertaining to the tent of meeting, and they shall incur the penalty for the Israelites' sin. This is a permanent statute for all your generations. But they shall not have any heritage among the Israelites. For I have assigned to the Levites as their heritage the tithes, which the Israelites put aside as a contribution to the Lord. That is why I have said, they will not have any heritage among the Israelites. The Lord said to Moses, speak to the Levites and say to them, when you take from the Israelites the tithes I have assigned you, from them as your heritage, you are to make a contribution from them to the Lord, a tithe of the tithe. And your contributions will be credited to you as if it were grain from the threshing floor of the new wine from the vat. Thus, you too shall make a contribution to the Lord from all the tithes you take from the Israelites, handing over to Aaron the priest the contribution to the Lord. From all the gifts to you, you shall make every contribution due to the Lord, from their best parts, that is the part to be consecrated from them. Say to them also, once you have made your contribution for the best part, the rest of the tithe will be credited to the Levites, as if it were produce of the threshing floor, or the produce of the vat. You and your households may eat it anywhere, since it is your recompense in exchange for labor in the tent of meeting. Tithing. You have some preachers and priests and pastors and all those things. They'll tell you tithing is not about that 10%. It's not about that. It's about a tenth of that 10%. You have some say it's all about that 10%. You have some say that you got to give it to the church. Well, those would say it doesn't really matter where you give it, as long as you're giving it to charity and helping people. God don't care. I am on that side. I don't think it matters who you give it to. If you've got charities you give to every month out of your paycheck, or you've got a family that you help and nobody knows you help, that's tithing. Do you hear me? It absolutely is. If you give money to a drugstore every month because you're trying to help out with people they come in there all the time going, I don't know how to get my medicine, so they'll have a little something set aside, brother, that's tithing. But here's what I want to point out to you. The tenth of the tenth guys, they've got an argument. You can not like it, or you can say you don't agree, and that's okay. But if you read this Bible we just read, the Levites, right, they are to be given all the tithes from the Jews. All of them. It's all for them to eat, to enjoy. All the produce, all the meat, all the wine. We just read there, right? The Levites get all of that. It is theirs to enjoy. They don't get an inheritance with the Israelites. Don't confuse that. Mean they're not going to heaven. It just means not the same thing. For theirs is coming from the tithes from the Israelites. They're tithing, giving it to the Levites. The Levites are taking all that tithe and then taking 10% of that tithe, right? They had tithe. There's their 10%. The Levites have it. Now the Levites get all of that except for 10%. Now they take 10% of that and they give that to Aaron, the priest. Right. 10% of 10%. That's what it ends up being. It's a percent of the total. And it's not for nothing, right? The Levites get their part for their work they're doing. That's their pay. Is the food and stuff they get. That's their pay. That's how they are to survive. Because what they're doing for the Lord, what they are doing for the tent of meeting, takes up most of their time. They don't have time to go out and gather and hunt. And this is what they do. Yeah? If you've got a preacher, a pastor, a priest, whatever that is, and they got a fairly large church, brother, that's what they do now. Nowadays, okay, Catholic priests are different. If you want to look up how that works for them getting paid stuff, go ahead. It ain't much. None of them are rich. They can move up and do better things, whatever, but the priests, most of them are not. Anyway, now there are other preachers and pastors and reverends out there that have big churches. I'm not talking about the mega churches. I'm not talking about Joel Osteen. I have no use for Joel Osteen. I'll say that right here. And I don't think anyone else should either. But I'm just talking about preachers, pastors, whatever. You know, in average America, but their church has grown, and it's a big church now. And that preacher's making $100,000 a year. 120, 130 grand a year. Y'all, if where you live, the average income is 60 grand, then that's what your preacher should make. Not compared to whoever makes the most money in that area. Compared to, boy, we can throw the poor out, can't we? It's so easy to throw the poor out and say, oh. Till they show up at church in their rather clothes. And you got to deal with the fact that that's the best thing they had to wear that day. You have to face the fact that they're there despite the fact that they're embarrassed for being there in those clothes. Why are they embarrassed? It's not because God wants to be embarrassed. It's because of you. It's because of me. Because we're sitting there in better clothes and they think we're judging them. And some of you are. And woe to you who are. Y'all. If you've ever beaten people up or are beating people up or have ever done this about tithing, stop it. Stop it. You are not God. You do not get to make these decisions, and you surely do not get to preach on someone else for it. All you are doing is becoming a stumbling block for someone who can't afford to do what you want them to do. Giving them an excuse to not go to church by saying, well, I was going to go, but clearly I ain't got enough money. You and your household made it anywhere, since it is your recompense in exchange for labor in the tent of meeting. You will incur no punishment when you contribute the best part of it. But do not profane the holy offerings of the Israelites, or else you shall die. Word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. I love you. Jesus Christ loves you a lot more. I know today was long, and I know I was probably a little hard on some of you because some of this touched you a little bit or fired you up a little bit. And I'm sorry. I don't want to fire you up, but I do want to fire your heart up because I do want you to talk to God, and I do want you to get right. Am I right? Nope. But am I confident in things I tell you? Yes. I wouldn't tell them to you like I think they're facts if I didn't. Not telling you the 10th of a 10th is right on tithing. I'm telling you there's an argument to be made there, and it comes from this book. So you can't just dismiss it. I'm telling you that if the guy that brings his kids to church because he's trying, but he's wearing ripped pants, he don't smell so good. I'm telling you, if you don't treat that family with the exact same reverence, the exact same respect and love when they come into your church, that you treat the guy who's always well dressed, funny and witty, charming. If you don't treat that man and his kids the same way that you treat that guy, then you are wrong, you are hypocritical, and you are why so many people don't want to come to church. They look at church, they go, I don't go for them hypocrites. Well, yeah, there's lots of hypocrites, but there's lots of people who aren't too. And none of us get any better if we don't start going and trying. Don't be one of those people. What you have done for the least of these, you have done for me. And what you have failed to do for the least of these, you have failed to do for me. Yeah? That's Jesus talking. I love you, but he loves you a lot more. Have a beautiful and blessed day.